Where are your awards, like your BRIT Award and everything?
Down at my local pub. You don't want it in the house because you look like a bit of a dickhead.
All right, what's the name of this place? Hello, Sam. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine. Are you in England?
I am. I'm in London.
When's the last time you were home?
About 3 weeks ago, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask you about home because I feel like I can't entirely understand where you're coming from as an artist until I understand North Shields, England.
It's a fishing town on the coast of Newcastle. It's at the mouth of the Tyne River. It's a very, very blue collar working class town. All of the industries are kind of were on the river, so it's a lot of shipbuilding. It's where Sting's from, actually.
Oh, yeah.
But all of the industries have since been closed down because they got closed down in the 80s. And we're a very tough, resilient town. We've got a very funny accent. We're very friendly. Kind of, it's like we're famously friendly. There's quite a lot of issues with economically. We've got the highest rise in child poverty in the whole of the UK at the moment. It's pretty tough at the moment. It's so that like economically we kind of get shafted by the government because we're like basically almost Scotland, and I feel like we're kind of last on the list. But it's a great place, and it's a small city, but it's vibrant and has a good music scene, and we've got a beautiful coastline. It's very cold, but we've got some crazy psychopath surfers that like to
Surf North Shields, huh? Wow. Is that something you do?
no, well, badly, very, very
All
badly.
right. Fair enough. I don't know how you could be good at surfing in that cold water. That's unbelievable.
Just have to have a wetsuit. That's about
Yeah.
this. Like,
Yeah.
funnily enough, I get the Springsteen comparisons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It is kind of like New Jersey
Yeah.
because we've got that horror, that show Jersey Shore.
You're not telling me it's like that. I was hoping you'd say The Sopranos.
Hang tight. There's a show called Jersey Shore, and then they made a show in the UK called Geordie Shore, which is we're Geordies. That's what we're called. So like that was the British equivalent. So we are the British equivalent of Supreme. And we've got like all of the Springsteen songs where he speaks about like I went to New Jersey and I went to Asbury Park, right? It reminds me of that, like the convention center and all of them sort of places in
Yeah.
the Stone Pony. Like we've got the Spanish City, which is like it's the same sort of like white domed architecture and stuff like that. So it's bizarre.
That's weird. I've been to Asbury Park and the Stone Pony and all that. I know exactly what you're talking about. Okay. I have a pretty good picture in my mind.
There's a lot of that on the coast as well,
Yeah.
and run down amusement parks.
Yeah. I totally get it. So, 17 Going Under is such a brilliant record. There's a lot to take in lyrically, and I'm curious as to your mind, what's the most misunderstood thing about the record that you're getting from critics or people interviewing you, the public, whatever? Is there something about it that people aren't getting?
There was one thing, but I don't know if I want to talk about it because it's so off the mark. Like one of the things that I almost don't want to like give it light.
I'm not trying to get a gotcha or anything like that. Listening to it, and I'm reading the lyrics, and I'm thinking to myself, it's possible that there are parts that I'm attributing only to you, but they could be observations of other people or whatever, just because it sounds like such a personal record.
No, it is a personal record.
Yeah. So, what were you at 17? Who was that guy?
That was I was a bloody mess like every other 17-year-old. No, me and my mother were living together at the time. It was just the two of us. And she was really struggling. She had fibromyalgia, and she wasn't well in other ways as well. And she wasn't fit to work. And, so she was unemployed. I was unemployed. I failed all my college stuff. And we were struggling to get by. We lived we had black mold all over the walls, which never got fixed, never got sorted. And we just, it was just like, it sucked. She got taken to court 3 times by the DWP, which is the Department of Work and Pensions, which is like I don't know what you'd call it in America, but it's like, it's the council, it's the government. And because they were trying to prove that she was fit to work. And they basically forced, this is a woman who worked for like 40 years of her life as a nurse and like never had a day off. You know what I mean? Like always worked her ass off. And she fell on a hard time and they bullied her. Like I saw them bully her and take her to court 3 times, which made all of her mental health issues worse. And I was old enough to notice that and see what was going on, and seeing her completely distraught because she was terrified that we were gonna be, on the out on, we couldn't afford to get by. And it just made us a very angry kid because I couldn't fix it and I didn't have a way to help her financially. I worked loads of different jobs, but I couldn't help her. I wasn't a man. I was a kid.
Yeah.
And it just it just bred a lot of insecurity and shame, it is at a young age, which I never really kind of dealt with until I started talking about it when I was doing therapy when I was like 25. And that's where all of the songs came from. And since then, it's kind of opened up this Pandora's box, if you will, of stuff to speak about, and write about. So I'm still writing about this now.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say that when you listen to the record, it does sound almost like the words are just literally pouring out of you and you have so much to say.
Yeah.
That's a painful way to make art, but art is often painful, I suppose. But I hope that you're taking time to enjoy this too, because things are going so well. I was amused to see that. What'd you do with your awards? Because I want to see if this is true. Where are your awards, like your BRIT Award and everything?
I turned both my BRIT Awards into beer pumps. I just like, it's one of those things, like I didn't really you don't want it in the house because you look like a bit of a dickhead. You know what I mean? And then you don't want to and it's like a paperweight. It's really fucking heavy. It's big and it just gets in the way. So it's like, what do I do with it? So I just was like, let's nail through it and turn it into a beer pump down at my local pub.
All right. What's the name of this place?
It's called the Lowlights Tavern.
All right. So I'm going to go to the Lowlights Tavern someday and get, what kind of beer is coming from your award? Do you know?
I think it's a real ale. I think it's I think it's the Lowlights have their own real ale called the but you can get whatever you want. You can get Guinness, you can get lager, you can get, there's anything you want.
Yeah. Well, that's outstanding. That sounded like something that was made up, but I guess not. Now, real quick, speaking of the BRIT Awards, you got your award from Ronnie Wood?
Yeah.
What did he say to you?
Well, he opened up the thing and he was like, my favorite. And I was like, yes, because I was just buzzing that we were Ronnie Wood's favorite. So I was like, go on. And I just ran up and give him a massive cuddle. I was just like, give me a hug. He's tiny. He's so small.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I just ran up and he just congratulated us on the stage. And then I said something funny, but I'm trying to remember what the hell it was. It was such a blur that night, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. Well, between that and the support of Sir Elton John, this has all turned into something that to you might not even seem real at this point.
Oh, I do struggle with knowing if anything's real a lot of the time. Like I've still got, I was saying that the other week when we were on tour. I was like, I don't feel like for the last couple of months I've kind of felt like I'm not actually here. It's just so bizarre, But I guess that's normal.
Yeah, well, as normal as can be when Sir Elton John has you on speed dial.
Yeah, he's a hero, total hero.
Well, it's well deserved. This record is so great, and the thing that makes me excited is that you've got more music pouring out of you, and we're gonna get a new record next year. I just can't wait to see what the future holds for you because we're just at the beginning.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, well, it's just great to hear just an album that just works from start to finish. It's such a great listen. It's something that, put your phone away and sit down and listen to it. That's what I would say. Well, safe travels. Just a handful of American shows coming up, hopefully a more extensive tour. It's a big country. Come see us in Columbus, Ohio sometime.
Love to.
We'll show you a good time. In the meantime, the closest show to us is Lollapalooza. The album is 17 Going Under. Sam Fender, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you soon.
Thanks for having us, my man.